Hello, this is the last chapter of the story. Enjoy listening. Chapter 5 of God Sees the Truth But Waits by Leo Tolstoy. Next day, when the convicts were led out to work, the convoy soldiers noticed that one or other of the prisoners emptied some earth out of his boots. The prison was searched and the tunnel found. The governor came and questioned all the prisoners to find out who had dug the hole. They all denied any knowledge of it. Those who knew would not betray Makar Semyonich, knowing he would be flogged almost to death. At last, the governor turned to Ivan, whom he knew to be just man, and said, "You are truthful, old man. Tell me, before God, who dug the hole?" Makar Semyonich stood as if he were quite unconcerned, looking at Governor and not so much as glancing at Ivan. Ivan's lips and hands trembled, and for a long time he could not utter a word. He thought, "Why should I screen him who ruined my life? Let him pay for what I have suffered. But if I tell, they will probably flog the life out of him. And maybe I suspect him wrongly. And God, after all, what good would it would be to me?" "Well, old man," repeated the governor, "tell me the truth. Who has been digging under the wall?" Ivan glanced at Makar Semyonich and said, "I cannot say, Your Honor. It is not God's will that I should tell. Do what you like with me. I am your hands." However much the governor tried, Ivan would stay no more, and so the matter had to be left. That night, when Ivan was lying on his bed, just beginning to doze, someone came quietly and sat down on his bed. He peered through the darkness and recognized Makar. "What more do you want from me?" asked Ivan. "Why have you come here?" Makar Semyonich was silenced, so Ivan sat up and said, "What do you want? Go away, or I will call the guard." Makar Semyonich bent close over Ivan and whispered, "Ivan Dmitrich, forgive me." "What for?" asked Ivan. "It was I who killed the merchant and hid the knife among your things. I mean to kill you too, but I hear the noise outside, so I hide the knife in your bag and escape out of the window." Ivan was silenced and did not know what to say. Makar Semyonich slid off the bed shelf and knelt upon the ground. "Ivan Dmitrich," he said, "forgive me. For the love of God, forgive me. I will confess that I was I who killed the merchant, and you will be released and can go to your home." "It's easy for you to talk," Ivan said, "but I have suffered for you these 26 years. Where could I go now? My wife is dead, and my children have forgotten me. I have nowhere to go." Makar Semyonich did not rise, but beat his head on the floor. "Ivan Dmitrich, forgive me," he cried. "When they flogged me with the knot, it was not so hard to bear as if to see you now. Yet you had pity on me and did not tell. For Christ's sake, forgive me, wretch that I am." And he began to sob. And when Ivan heard him sobbing, he too began to weep. "God will forgive you," he said. "Maybe I am 100 times worse than you." And at this word his heart grew light, and the longing for the home left him. He no longer had any desire to leave the prisons, but only hope for this last hour to come. In spite of what Ivan said, Makar Semyonich confessed his guilt, but when the order for his release came, Ivan was already dead. This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoy it. This is not a goodbye because more stories to come. Have a nice day and God bless us all.